Welcome, 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 readers, bibliophiles, and those who just like to listen while they're cleaning or walking. Welcome back to the twice annual per year celebration of favourites and non-favourites here at the Mr. Francy channel. I am so happy to be back doing favourites and non-favourites. I have loved doing this series since the first iteration, and that is why I do it twice a year. Not once, but twice. The first time in July, the second time in December. In July, we celebrate favourites and non-favourites for the first half of the year, and then in December, we celebrate favourites and non-favourites for the entirety of the year. Just giving you a little table of contents. So here's how it's going to go. I'm going to tell you the videos I'm going to be doing and the order they're going to be appearing in. So the first one that you're seeing today is favourites and non-favourites. We're doing favourites by genre. The next video will be worst books. The next video will be best books. The next video will be goals, stay or go veto. Next up, I'm doing a half-month vlog because of all the favourites and non-favourites. I want to put at least a vlog in there, so we're going to do a half-month vlog. Then the bookshelf tour takes over 3 hours to do. Ends up being a 15-minute video, but I enjoy watching it back every time, and I hope you do too. And then the SAS update. After the SAS update, I will do my August TBR, and we will have come to the end of favourites and non-favourites. But as I was mentioning earlier, today we are doing favourites by genre. So this is a really fun type of video because the others seem like your standard favourite and non-favourite type videos to do, but faves by genre is a fun way to look into the genre category of what I've been reading and select my favourite book by that genre. So what was my favourite fantasy? What was my favourite cozy? What was my favourite classic for the first half of 2024? I'm very excited. So just a quick note here, I will not be including dystopians as I only began one dystopian series this year and I DNF'd it, so I'm just not going to mention dystopians. And I'm also not including horrors here because I've only read one horror book and I didn't love it. So not mentioning those two categories, genres, but there will be 6 genres in this one, and I'm going to present it in an award ceremony style way, cause why not? So welcome to the Mr. Francy 2024 Favourites by Genre for the first half of 2024 awards. Woo! Okay, so the first cap of the rank is favourite classic for the first half of 2024, and the nominations are 5 Go Adventuring Again, Book 2 in the famous 5 series by Enid Blyton. 5 Run Away Together, Book 3 in the famous 5 series by Enid Blyton. 5 Go to Smuggler's Top, Book 4 in the famous 5 series by Enid Blyton. 5 on Kieran Island Again, Book 6 in the famous 5 series by Enid Blyton. And oh, look at that, 5 Get Into Trouble, Book number 8 in the famous 5 series by Enid Blyton. Yes, all nominees for my favourite classic are from the same series. They are a plethora of books from the famous 5 series. And the award for my favourite classic for the first half of 2024 goes to 5 Get Into Trouble, book number 8 in the famous 5 series by Enid Blyton. Well done, 5 Get Into Trouble, well done. Now I need to make a specification here. Thank you very much, Enid Blyton, for such a wonderful book. However, I do feel it has been miscategorized. I don't think that it's necessarily the kind of book you want these days for middle grade children to read, because there are some violent moments that do happen quite a bit throughout the story. In saying that, reading it as an adult, I appreciated so much about this book. Not only the character development of the new character that came into this book, because we have new characters that come into each book for that one book only, and the character development of this particular character, Richard Kent, was fantastic. The evil characters, because there's always always evil characters in every book, new evil characters. The evil characters in this book were, oh my gosh, so particularly gruesomely, horrifically evil. Rookie is one of the best villains that I've ever read. He freaks me out and I'm an adult. The five are so heroic and so just so fantastic in what they do. Massive shout out to all five, the humans, Julian, Dick, George, and Anne, and of course the wonderful dog Timmy. This is a fantastic book. Praise to Enid Blyton. I highly recommend the series, but this one has to stand up as my absolute favourite for the first half of the year. And even though it's a middle grade that has a mystery, and there is a situation where the five do, as the title suggests, get into trouble, the way they get out of trouble is not a plot convenience. So yay! Fantastic for that too. All right. Fantastic stuff. My favourite classic for the first half of 2024 goes to Five Get Into Trouble by Enid Blyton, book number 8 in the famous Five series. And now it's time for contemporaries. And here we go. The nominations for my favourite contemporary for the first half of 2024 are Love and Gelato, book 1 in the Love and Gelato trilogy by Jenna Evans Welch. Love and Luck, book number 2 in the Love and Gelato series by Jenna Evans Welch. And, not surprisingly, Love and Olives, book number 3 in the Love and Gelato trilogy by Jenna Evans Welch. All 3 books are the only contemporaries I read in the first half of the year, and all received 5 stars. So who is going to take the win? The award goes to Love and Gelato, book number 1 by Jenna Evans Welch in the Love and Gelato trilogy. Yay! Okay, so this is a YA contemporary series, and focusing on Love and Gelato, this is what started it all for me. I went into this series. I know some booktubers who have read this series and they liked it, and I thought I would give it a go. It had been a while since I'd read some YA contemporaries and wanted to get back into it, and just exactly what I wanted, focusing again purely on Love and Gelato, because I would love to focus on every book in this series. I need to read more by Jenna Evans Welch. If you have Jenna Evans Welch recommendations outside of this series, please put them in the comments below. I love her as a contemporary author. But Love and Gelato, one of the biggest reasons why this has to stand out is because it was my first Jenna Evans Welch book, and it gave me everything I needed and more. What works for me when it comes to a contemporary may be different to what works for you, or you may not even read contemporaries. But for me, I love when there is a hard-hitting issue that we're trying to deal with in a contemporary situation. For those of you who don't know, because contemporary is not a word that we use in Australia, so if you happen to be Australian, contemporary is what we in Australia would call general fiction. Everyday characters doing everyday things. But in a subgenre of contemporary is hard-hitting contemporary, where you may be dealing with a hard-hitting issue within that generalized fiction. So yes, for those of you from America, in Australia, we don't have the word contemporary as a genre. We say general fiction, but I say contemporary because I'm used to it, growing up in the booktube universe. But anyway, yeah. So the hard-hitting contemporary here was, we're dealing with this girl who ends up traveling to Italy to meet her father, and her father walked out on her and her mother when the main character was quite young, and so she had reservations going to meet her father. But once she arrives in Italy, because her mother says, please go be with him, get to know your dad, so she does, she not only falls in love with Italy, but her father's receptionist ends up giving her a journal, which was a journal that her mother kept about the time she spent growing up with her father in Italy when they were in love. And it was just really beautiful having the protagonist go through all those different layers of, I don't know if I want to see my father. Okay, I'm here in Italy, so now I have to deal with that. I'm here in a strange country that I've never been to before. I have to deal with it. Now I have this journal, which is really sweet. My mum definitely loved my dad at some point. Let's try and investigate this further. Let's try and get to know Dad. Really, really a fantastic book, and the rest of the series fantastic too. They are all standalones, even though they are a series, if that makes sense, the 3 books in this one. So it's more that they connect in the same sort of universe, in that we follow a female protagonist who has to travel to another country to do something. And in this particular case, we're traveling to Italy with Love and Gelato. But yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff. Thank you so much to Jenna Evans Welch. And again, if you have a recommendation for a Jenna Evans Welch book for me to read or series that's not this one, please let me know. Love her writing style, love her protagonist, but in this book particularly, really enjoyed that hard-hitting contemporary element. Alright, and now the moment that most of you have been waiting for, the extremely coveted 2024 favourite cozy mystery for the first half of 2024. Okay, let's get to it. The nominations are Death of an Italian Chef, book number 14 in the Hayley Powell Food and Cocktail Mystery Series by Lee and Hollis. Death of an Ice Cream Scooper, book number 15 in the Hayley Powell Food and Cocktail Mystery Series, again by Lee and Hollis. Dead End Detective by Amanda Flower, book 1 in the Piper and Porter Mystery Series. Starboard Secrets, book number 1 in the Cruise Ship Mystery Series by Hope Callahan. Frozen Detective by Piper and Porter, book number 2 by Amanda Flower is the final nomination. This was a very tough decision, and I have become more and more transparent as time has gone on my channel. If I don't like something, you're going to know about it. If I like something, you're going to know about it. I loved all of these books, and so it was very agonizingly difficult to give it to just one of them. But I chose. And the award for my favorite cozy mystery for the first half of 2024 goes to Death of an Italian Chef, book number 14 in the Hayley Powell Food and Cocktail Mystery Series by Lee and Hollis. Yay! This series, the Hayley Powell Food and Cocktail Mystery Series, I missed this series so much. I'm waiting for the new release to come out. Have you ever had this, what's called the bookish hangover? Let's upgrade that. Have you ever had a book series hangover where you know that there's a new book coming out, but you know you're probably waiting around about a year for the next book to come out? The next Hayley Powell Food and Cocktail book, I think it comes out in late September. I am waiting with bated breath for the next one. I have loved the majority of the books in this series, but what makes Death of an Italian Chef stand out for me is, to this day, I look at the cover of this book and am filled with such fond memories of reading this book. I love culinary fiction, but I am not Italian, but I'm convinced that I was Italian in another life, because my favorite food, I should say, of all time is pasta. If I could live on pasta every single day of the year, I would. But I love Italian food, Italian culture, all that sort of thing. And that all came together in my favorite series. So I had Hayley Powell, my favorite protagonist. I had a mystery to solve in Hayley Powell's Cozy World, whilst dealing with an Italian restaurant and an Italian chef. And oh my gosh, it was just so good. Lee and Hollis, massive shout out to you guys. I love you guys as authors. What you do with the brother taking on the prose of the book, and the sister writing the columns, because there are columns that are pieced and parceled throughout the course of each book, is fantastic. You both come together so very well. I love Hayley Powell. I love following her within the standard prose. I love following her columns. I love her world. I love her friends. I love this series so much, and I am experiencing the biggest series hangover right now. I need the next Hayley Powell. But anyway, congratulations, Death of an Italian Chef. All right. Now it's time for the nominations for my favorite fantasy for the first half of 2024. And the nominations are A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, Origins of an Academy Bully, Zodiac Academy number 0.5, The Reckoning, Zodiac Academy number 3, Shadow Princess, Zodiac Academy 4, Cursed Fates, Zodiac Academy 5, The Big A.S. Party, Zodiac Academy 5.5, Fated Throne, Zodiac Academy 6, and Heartless Sky, Zodiac Academy 7. All Zodiac Academy books mentioned in these nominations are written by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. I market them as adult fantasy, whilst A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness is a middle grade fantasy. And the award goes to A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. Yay! Can you believe that every other nominee was Zodiac Academy, which is one of my, if not my favorite series that I've read this year, and yet A Monster Calls took the prize. This is what you read about online or in the paper or whatever. Saying the paper shows my age. The next day where it's like scandal at the award show, and this one wins over high favorite this one. But A Monster Calls has to claim this prize. This is a book that has, anytime I see this book, I am filled with not only the fond memories, but the emotion that I went through reading this particular one. So just very quickly, I'm going to give you an idea of the premise of this book, and I'll just grab that for you now. We should have been more prepared. Here we go. At 7 minutes past midnight, 13-year-old Connor wakes to find a monster outside his bedroom window, but it isn't the monster Connor's been expecting. He's been expecting the one from his nightmare. The nightmare he's had nearly every night since his mother started her treatments. The monster in his backyard is different. It's ancient and wild, and it wants something from Connor, something terrible and dangerous. It wants the truth. My thoughts on this book was that it was fantastic. The illustrations are amazing and definitely worthy of the medal it received. The plot is amazing. It's tough to categorize. I'd personally call it a middle grade fantasy horror, but it was just so very well done and all came together so well at the end too. An emotional read for me that I highly recommend to all. Such a fantastic book, and that's why it narrowly beat out my favorite series of the year. Well done, Patrick Ness. Well done to A Monster Calls. Alright, and now the nominations for my favorite LGBTIQ plus book for the first half of 2024. And the nominations are Small Town Pride by Phil Stamper, Eli Over Easy by Phil Stamper, and Practice Makes Perfect, book number 3 in the Housemates series by Jay Northcott. And the award goes to Practice Makes Perfect, Housemates number 3 by Jay Northcott. Yay! Oh my goodness, how much time do you have on how hard I deliberated to determine which of these 3 books should win this award. Massive shout out to Phil Stamper. He's arguably my favorite, if not one of my absolute favorite LGBTIQ plus hard-hitting contemporary romance authors. Thank you, Phil Stamper. So much love to you. But I had to give it to Practice Makes Perfect. Jay Northcott's character development and his plot development has improved so much since book number 1 that this series, the Housemate series that started off as just a spicy series where the main point is the spiciness that is a level of 10 out of 10, has felt a lot more well-rounded by the time we've reached this halfway mark. Massive, massive props to Jay Northcott for that. Also, massive props to the 2 main characters, who I'm just trying to grab their names. We really need to be more prepared. So we have Dev And we have another one, Ewan, Devin Ewan. Okay, so Dev is this geek guy who was on campus. So the housemates in this entire in each book for this entire series live on campus at a university. Dev was living in another section of the campus housing, and he was being bullied, so he was transferred over to the housemates' house, and he is this geek nerd, a very introspective, very shy, all those sorts of things. He ends up creating a list. He's an adult now. There are things he wants to experience sexually. He meets his next door neighbor, Ewan. Ewan agrees to help him experience these things on the list. They're not going to get into a relationship. They're just going to experience those things. But at the same time, Ewan is struggling with certain things to do with his course that Dev can certainly help him with. So they make a men's agreement that Ewan will help Dev with the things on his list, and Dev will help Ewan with his schooling work and things like that. And it was just fantastic. Dev is probably the deepest character I've read in this entire series so far. I love that it's dual perspective, that we get to have the perspective of both Dev and Ewan, but particularly getting Dev's perspective was wonderful. To see his self-reflection, to see his introspection, to see his insecurities, to feel his insecurities, to see how he develops his character arc from the beginning to the end of the book was just so fantastic. And I have to give mad props to Jay Northcott's writing style. It is a very easy to read writing style which allows the reader to just fall in love with the story that's in front of them, rather than an overly flowery writing style which may potentially, depending upon who you are as a reader, but for me it definitely does, become a barrier to enjoying the actual story itself. And so this was just a perfect LGBTIQ plus book. Yes, it was adult. Yes, there are many spicy scenes that are 10 out of 10, but the entire book has to be my favorite LGBTIQ plus book for the first half of 2024. All right, final category is paranormal. And so the nominations for my favorite paranormal for the first half of 2024 are Midnight Sun, Twilight, the 5th book in publication order by Stephanie Meyer. How to Lure a Hunter, Vampire-Related Crimes, book number 3. How to Save a Human, Vampire-Related Crimes, book number 4. And How to Defy a Vampire, Vampire-Related Crimes, book number 5. All of the Vampire-Related Crimes books are by Alice Winters. Now, yes, technically I can refer to the Alice Winters VRC books as LGBTIQ plus books, but honestly, they are also categorized as paranormal books, and I just made things a lot easier to put them into the paranormal category rather than overwhelming the LGBTIQ plus category. And so the award goes to my favorite paranormal for the first half of 2024 is How to Defy a Vampire by Alice Winters, book number 5, the final book in the VRC Vampire-Related Crimes series. Okay, for many reasons this one won, but in saying that, I do want to give a special shout out to Midnight Sun, the book that I was never going to read. When I first found out that Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer was coming out, I thought, I don't want this. Why would I want this? Why would I want to read the same thing again from a different perspective? Why not just write the next book in this series and let's continue on? Well, after a couple of years, I got over that and finally decided to read Midnight Sun, and I did love it. It was fantastic. If you're a Twilight fan, I do highly recommend reading Midnight Sun. In saying that, the VRC series, Vampire-Related Crime series by Alice Winters, is a fantastic series all the way through. But the fact that the final book also got 5 stars really shows just how good this series is. I do believe that every book in this series that I I read got 5 stars, which shows just how fantastic it is. I want to just give you a very quick overview. When I first started reading the first book in this particular series, I went onto Facebook into some reader groups and was asking for some male spicy books to read, and this was one of the options that came up for me. So I decided to read the first book in this series. While there were spicy scenes in that first book, it didn't feel to me like a quote-unquote spicy book. It felt more like honestly, a male cozy mystery book with some spicy scenes added on. It didn't feel like it was set out to be a spicy book, if that makes sense. And I loved it for that reason, and every other book I've loved ever since. But this book, which is the final book in the series, or the final book in the series so far, and it's probably so far because this was published in 2023, so there may be another one, who knows? But anyway, really, still absolutely fantastic, and I just, absolutely enjoyed my time with this one. It was a great book as usual for the series. I was saddened that I was up to date. The book ended open-ended though, so as I say, I don't know if Alice in Winter's plans to come back to the series or not, but either way, this was a series I truly enjoyed and highly recommend. I love Finn and Marcus and everyone else on the VRC crew, but particularly loved the final book in the series. Okay, so there you have it. That is it. So let's go through that again. The winners for each award are my favourite classic for first half of 2024, 5 Get Into Trouble by Enid Blyton. My favourite contemporary for the first half of 2024, Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. My favourite cozy mystery for the first half of 2024, Death of an Italian Chef. My favourite fantasy for the first half of 2024, A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. My favourite LGBTIQ plus book for the first half of 2024, Practice Makes Perfect by Jane Northcote. And my favourite paranormal for the first half of 2024 is How to Defy a Vampire by Alice Winters. Wow, what a start to the favourites and non-favourites section time of woo, let's do a little dance. I am so happy, if you cannot tell, so happy to be back in the favourites and non-favourites section, and keep an eye out. If you haven't subscribed already, I highly recommend to do so, because the next one is the controversial video that everyone loves. It's my one category of video that is my only controversial one that people love, which is great that they do, and that is my worst books video. Worst books for the first half of the year. If I didn't like a book, it'll make it on that list, and gosh dang, boy howdy, are you gonna know why? I will tell you what was wrong with those books for me. But so subscribe and hit the bell so that you don't miss any notification. But in the meantime, that is where I am going to leave it. Let me know in the comments below what your favourite books by genre was for the first half of 2024. Please do be kind and love one another and spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world. Sparkle, 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 sparkle. Yay! And until next time, happy reading. Bye.